The Game Time Network is brought to you by Matt Gaddis of State Farm, the official insurance partner of the Game Time Network. Whether it's auto, home, renters, or life insurance, Mac has you covered with trusted service and personalized support. So make sure to reach out to Matt Gaddis for all of your insurance needs. And we are also powered by our friends at Wire to the Nines. For specialists in low voltage install and repairs, if you need security systems, networking, wiring, or upgrades done right, contact Wire to the Nines at wiretothenines@yahoo.com. Big thanks to Matt Gaddis and Wire to the Nines for supporting the Game Time Network.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Game Time After Hours, and we are getting right into it. Jaren Jackson Jr. is heading to the Utah Jazz. Everyone was kind of blindsided by this trade. Honestly, I was blindsided by it as well. Didn't see this coming. We were talking I was on the game last night, and we were all, I was talking to Nakori, and I was just like, man, there's got to be some type of move. We wake up this morning, and Shams is not washed after all. He dropped a bomb to start off this trade deadline, and hopefully this is the start. I mean, it got every other move in motion today. I like Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Jazz. I'm shocked it was the Jazz. A lot of people thought this was going to be New York. Jaren Jackson Jr. to New York, Cat going to Memphis. But it seems like Memphis is taking this deal for the draft picks. And from what I know, that none of the draft picks are for this year's draft. I think a lot of them are 20. I think I saw 2027, 2031, and then I don't know what the other one was. But I like this move for Utah. I think this is a really good move for the Jazz. They're buying in, and they've got the roster to buy in. Now, I'm on record saying that I still think that the Jazz are going to end up with the number one pick. They're going to get Debonsa from BYU. Danny Ainge played a huge role in Debonsa going to BYU. The Jazz organization has been a little influential in making BYU a basketball powerhouse, especially, and that started with getting Debonsa. So I'm still of the belief that they will leap up in the lottery regardless of where they are, and they will end up with AJ Debonsa. But I want to be wrong as a Pacer fan. I really want to be wrong. But that's just kind of what I'm thinking. But in all honesty, I really like this move for the Jazz. I think, this is a clear buy-in move. You've got Kessler, you've got Markkanen, and somebody said it on TikTok, and I agree with it too. I think this is clearly a move to help Keontae George continue to grow as a player. So I like the move for that alone because Keontae George has taken a step up. So I for one, really like the move for the Jazz. And as for Memphis, it's a rebuild, right? Jaw's going to get traded. The question is, where is he going to get traded? And I said it on our live show, and I'm going to say it right now. I think it's Minnesota, right? They cleared up some money today by moving Mike Conley. Now, whether that's for Giannis, we'll see. I think it could be for Jaw. It could be for a different point guard, somebody different out there, maybe quickly in Toronto. We're going to wait and see. I mean, I'm making sure to check my phone here just in case something happens. But as of right now, nothing has happened yet, and it is 1:29 in the morning. So I'm really curious to see what's going to go on. I liked the move earlier today by Minnesota to free up the cap room. Insane that Detroit did not get more for Jordan Ivey or Jaden Ivey. My apologies. So I thought they would have gotten more. They didn't. It's going to be an interesting deadline. I think the Pacers are going to probably move Benedict Mathurin at some point throughout this whole process. We still have, today, which is Wednesday, and then Thursday, I don't know what time the deadline ends. It's probably like 4 or 5 o'clock. All in all, though, the deadline ramped up today, and then last but not least, Vucevic to the Bulls. Vucevic to the Celtics is a good move. Chicago's not done making moves. They've got a bunch of guards on their roster. Minnesota declined to take Kobe White in the trade that they made to free Mike Conley off of their team. So I don't know what Minnesota's going to do. Is it going to be John Morant? I assume so. Jaw's got to get moved if Jaren Jackson Jr. got moved. That was, I expected a Jaw trade before a Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. So when I got the notification that it was Jaren, I was like, oh my gosh. And then Utah, I was like, wow. So I personally love the move for Utah in this deal. And I think it's only going to keep going. I'm curious to see if New Orleans will maybe move Zion. There's so many different moves that can happen before we get to Thursday. We still have a whole nother 24 hours before we even get to Thursday. So this is going to move quickly. I think, with Harden finally being moved, Cleveland, I don't think maybe Cleveland isn't done dealing. I heard Jared Allen. They may move Jared Allen or Mobley to get in the Giannis conversation. There's so many freaking Giannis rumors running around, and it's just irritating to hear because I'm going to be honest, I'm overhearing the Giannis stuff because then there was a quote that came out a couple hours ago where he's like, well, if I had to pick, I would want to end my career in Milwaukee. Well, then stay in Milwaukee. You recruited, what's his name? You recruited Miles Turner. I couldn't think of the name. You recruited Miles Turner, and look where y'all are, 19-29 in the East, and y'all are just floundering. So stay in Milwaukee. I don't want you to leave Milwaukee because you did this yourself. You wanted Dame and everything else. Now you got to lay. Now you made the bed. Now you got to lay in it for a while because I mean, at this point, I think Miami, it seems like Miami is going to be the ones to get him. Detroit isn't going to do it. Oklahoma City's not going to do it. San Antonio's not going to do it. None of those teams that everyone thought could do that, have the right assets to make this move, seems aren't going to make this move. And props to them. I thought a lot of these teams shouldn't have made the move to go get him, unless you're maybe Toronto or Miami or the other teams are throwing out. I really don't think Minnesota should do it either, if I'm being honest. Because then you got to trade a lot of your depth and assets to get him, and I think that will. When I look at it right now, and I'm not saying a jaw move makes Minnesota better. Honestly, I don't know why Minnesota is trying to get such a home run swing here at the deadline. I wish they would just go out and get a point guard. I thought Kobe White or Dasamu would have been perfect. Would have been a perfect fit, even if they were just a half a season rental, because both the guys are on expiring deals. I thought either of those guys would have been perfect for this lineup. I don't think Ja Morant per se moves the needle. I think right now I still am of the belief that Minnesota is better than the Lakers and better with the Rockets, and that's not even them including a point guard. I still think with whichever point guard they get, I still think it makes them fourth behind Denver, Spurs, and Thunder. But I'm at this point for me, it's 1A, 1B, 1C, and one in a 1D situation. I mean, I really think either of those four teams could win the West or, win the championship. Minnesota's probably a step down when it comes to winning the championship thing, just because, you've lost in back-to-back conference finals. It's hard for me to say if you're going to kick down that door or not, although I hope Ant can do it. But I really hope Minnesota isn't swinging for Ja, to be honest. I hope there's somebody that's not being talked about that they're gonna try to go out and acquire point guard wise. At this point, I don't really know who that is because we literally talked about Kobe White and Dasamu, not this Sunday, but the Sunday before that. So where are they going to go to get their point guard? I truly don't know. We talked about a LaMelo trade earlier on in the year, but they're hunting down the Bulls and the Hawks and the Magic and the Heat to get into the play-in and maybe even just get a playoff spot. So where do you go now? Do you call up, if I'm Minnesota, do you call Brooklyn up and try to get Cam Thomas? And what does that entail? Do you got to give up Naz Reid and some picks? Well, you already gave up two of your picks in the Dillingham trade. So that, you're really reaching into your assets there. So when you're Minnesota, you're at this point, with the Harden deal going through and you didn't pick up Kobe White or Dasamu earlier in the trade earlier today. Trae Young's already in Washington. Your pickings here for point guards are a little slim unless, you call up Indiana and you get McConnell. But even then, I don't think McConnell should be your starting point guard. There's a lot of things that Minnesota's missed out on point guard wise where I think it's like, okay, now you kind of got to look and see who may be willing to part with somebody. If I'm Minnesota right now, I'm calling up Brooklyn and I'm asking what do we got to give you to get Cam Thomas on this roster? Because I think Cam Thomas, just off the top of my head, that's probably the best option right now, off the top of my head. Maybe you call New Orleans up for Jordan Poole, but is Jordan Poole going to even be able to give you a sliver of what he did back when he was in Golden State? I don't really know. I didn't like when Poole got traded to Washington. I thought he was coming into a losing situation when they've already got their point guard of the future in Jeremiah Fears. So I don't truly know. And then, maybe you call up Sacramento, but I don't know if you want to call up Sacramento. So Minnesota's in a tough spot. I think really when you guys got to look out for a Minnesota trade at some point in these next 48 hours. Minnesota's the team to keep your eye on when it comes to a trade. I see the Anthony Davis rumor swirling around. I'm seeing Toronto and Atlanta. I'm really upset to see Toronto, so I really hope that doesn't happen. Toronto at this point, stay put, unless you get a center. I think that, Toronto can get a center. If they can get Sabonis from Sacramento, hey, Cleveland, if Sabonis goes to Toronto, Cleveland's then, in my opinion, Cleveland takes another step above Cleveland when I already think they're about like right here, like this is Cleveland or this is Toronto and this is Cleveland. If they get Sabonis to replace Jacob, whatever, I can't say his last name, then it's like whoosh, then you're taking another step, even though, you got Boston, New York, and but I think Toronto, they're in the mix, and you get Sabonis, that's a walking double next to Ingram and Barnes. So I don't know, man. That's some things to keep an eye on. Really keep an eye on Minnesota. Chicago's going to make some moves as well tomorrow. So it's going to be a fun one. This video will probably go out a couple hours after the Harden video. The Harden video is actually going to go up right now. So thank you guys for all the love and support on the Game Time Network. That's going to do it for me. I will see you guys for another episode of Game Time After Hours very, very soon. See you guys.